Grace and peace. I am doing a series titled Deception as it pertains to witchcraft. Now, is this a teaching that I have already spoken on? Absolutely. But I'm going to discuss some emails I received. The reason why I'm going to discuss this is because there is nothing new under the sun. I'm also going to talk about the gift of discerning the spirits. This is a gift that I highlight, talk about all the time. This is a gift that I have told you all to desire more than anything. All right. This gift will take you very far. When you have the gift of discerning the spirits, you may not have the language for what you feel. In the world, they call it intuition. But when you are a servant of Christ, that's not your intuition. That is God. Now, depending on how seasoned you are with your relationship with Christ, that will depend how much you learn and how much God can speak to you. Because some people struggle with that. A lot of people don't understand that God speaks to your heart. Okay, so that's another big misconception. However, I'm going to pull this email up for various reasons. For one, so that this person can know that I know who they are in the realm of the spirit. Every Christian, every disciple, every servant. I don't really like to consider myself a Christian. I really like to consider myself a servant of Christ, and the reason why is because of various reasons. But I just truly consider myself a servant. If you are truly a servant of Christ, if you are called to any capacity, and I'm not speaking of ministry, having a church, if God has called you to do anything, what you have to understand is that the opposition that you're going to face is going to be very subtle. The opposition that the devil brings will actually be very confusing. Now, there is a series that came on television. It was called Evil. Very, very powerful series. Very powerful series. That series breaks down the spirit realm a lot. Okay, it is mind blowing the things that they put in that TV series. You have to have eyes and ears to hear and see, though, when it comes to that series, because a normal Christian might say, oh, it was really good. I got so much revelation from watching that. It was mind blowing. However, I want to pull up an email and I'm going to expose another trick, one of Satan's most deceptive tricks, and that is to play as if they are a victim. She says, hi, Apostle Genesis. I hope this message finds you well. I'm reaching out because I need your help and clarity. I've watched your videos and felt that if anyone would give me the straight truth, it would be you. For a long time, I've known I needed deliverance, but I kept seeking it in the wrong places. My lack of knowledge of the Bible led me into things I now recognize as sin and even witchcraft. So they give you half truths. They give you a little bit of revelation, but then they try to blind you with the victim mentality. She says, I was part of a false religion without realizing it. She knew. Just thinking it was part of my culture. She knew. I found a YouTube channel of prayers, which were witchcraft prayers, which I started saying, and things began to change, but I was still under heavy spiritual attack. Again, knowing I need help, I started attending a church that practices deliverance. She's being extremely deceptive with her words. There's no such thing as a church practicing deliverance. But what she is, she don't think that she's talking to somebody that really know who she really is, because it's an email. And by golly, look at how many false Christians have infiltrated the church. Surely she's not going to decipher what I mean. Let's continue. She says, hoping for true change, but a few weeks after joining, I lost my job and my finances have only worsened. Since attending the church, I have given donations, even unemployed, but saw no change. My finances seem to be going in the toilet. There are a few things that concern me deeply. I had a dream warning me not to let anyone pray over my head due to the risk of manipulation. But I ignored it and allowed the apostle at church to pray for me anyway. After watching the service from Sonny Bad, don't know who this is, I felt prompted to do a fast and even sold $500 as a sacrificial seed, raising an altar to God for a job. So you actually sold a sacrificial seed because you were in need of employment. Not that you wanted to draw close to God, not the fact that you ignored his signs, his warnings, and his dreams, but because you wanted to raise an altar. Her words, again, very deceptive, extremely deceptive. This is a very wicked witch we talking about here. Let's continue. She said, but the job fell through just days before my start date. Actually, the same day I was baptized for a third time, even though I felt a strong voice telling me not to, or I would lose my gifts. Was the day I got an email that I would no longer have the job. During the baptism service, my apostle said she was imparting gifts to us and that we shouldn't think we're better than her after receiving it. That raised a flag for me, but I kept attending the church service by doing announcements, the church and serving by doing announcements. Over time, I noticed things in my apostle that made me uncomfortable. There were warnings and dreams, like one where I saw the apostle leading us to safety while I was left exposed after telling her she left the door open. Very powerful dream. Another dream showed me another church member holding on a rock in the ocean while others fell in. When I shared this, her response was the dream and a hurricane was coming. That's not what that dream represented. Then, other day in the church, she said it meant that the guys in the dream, with me is under spiritual attack. So that raised another flag because either she don't interpret dreams or is a liar. She's actually both, and so are you who sent this email. She said, I have had another dream of another leader who is her cousin throw a fireball at me. A person she had on the choir that she saw was a witch attacked me. Over the past year, I stayed and repented for my wrongs as things popped into my spirit, such as being a part of false religions, witchcraft, worshiping idols. After discovering your page on TikTok, I repented, fasted, meditated on some of your Bible verses. These aren't my Bible verses. These came straight from God, especially Ephesians 5:11. Since then, I've noticed more lies, such as the apostle telling us with a mic in her hand on the pulpit, saying that we could vote for Trump, and lying to tell others we voted for Kamala, and her behavior towards some members. Also, no prophecy spoken over my life in the church has ever manifested. They're not supposed to. They're not supposed to. She said she's 4 months behind in her mortgage, her bills, and overwhelmingly behind. They took away her SNAP. So, originally when I read this email, okay, my gift of discerning the spirits went off. When I tell you all, your gift of discerning the spirits does not mean that you have hatred in your heart. I want to tell you that. So what am I trying to tell you? You may be around a person and there may be an immediate agitation or you feel annoyed. The same way Apostle Paul was annoyed with that wicked sorcerer. What was she saying? She said, these are men, these are servants of the Most High God. Isn't that interesting? Because that's what witches do. They praise you publicly. They tell you how powerful you are. They praise you publicly. But inwardly, they cursing you with their heart. Okay? So I said, God, what is this feeling? What is this coming from? Right? And I said to myself, you know what? Let me wait. I'm going to copy and paste this email because I was at work when I saw this. I said, because I know something is off about this. Lord and behold, God gave me the revelation concerning this witch, concerning who she really was. He told me that not only did she try to do witchcraft to me, but she was sending poverty to me, which is why her situation is the way that it is. Now, when I was in the mentorship, a lot of the mentees were doing witchcraft on me. Diamond was one of them. And what was crazy was they were under me asking me to pray for them, and they were actually trying to hex me. This is what these witches are doing. A couple of weeks ago, there was a girl named Stephanie Lane. She asked me to pray for her. She was a witch, a foul, funky witch, and asked me to pray for her. She also tried to send hexes and curses and witchcraft to me. A guy named Reggie reached out to me. I can go on, baby. The list is so long, and this is what they do. They've infiltrated the church. They're asking pastors to pray for them while they meanwhile have tried to hex the pastor. Follow for part 2.